Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here at FedTalks with Lesta Brady, Director for Federal Civilian Sales at Google Cloud. Lesta, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wyatt. Glad to be here.
Let me start by asking, how has technology in federal government played a critical role in 2020 in response to the unprecedented pandemic that has rocked the nation?
Well, Wyatt, that's a great question, as the pandemic, as you know, has certainly been challenging for both government and everyone, industry. It's hard to believe that digital transformation was only a trend a few years ago, and now it's quickly a reality for many federal agencies. COVID-19 really has had all kind of agencies figuring out, how to speed up their timelines and digital strategies, whether it be moving cloud infrastructure to, their infrastructure to the cloud, or rolling out modern productivity tools for government employees, or using artificial intelligence to better serve the citizen. There's several examples. Obviously, working from home is a huge one where we saw spikes in video conferencing and meeting and events. The pandemic brought comfort to government to use video conferencing where they probably weren't in the past. Obviously, commercial companies were using video conferencing quite a lot. I think the public sector was slow to do that because maybe things didn't have federal compliance standards. The technology didn't meet it, or there was cultural issues or ease of use. But, it really caused the industry to step up, add features, make things better so it could be used in this time. We also saw technology tools foster more innovation and creativity. Working from home, people could use things like Google Docs and collaborate and create dynamic documents where they all could work together, which I think helped with, feeling like you're part of a team, even though you were working at home, and less the feeling of isolation. And then I think finally, we saw an increase of AI being used for citizen outreach. We saw a lot of call centers use virtual agencies to engage citizens more, whether they were having to go for unemployment benefits or, small business loans, or just to bolster up websites where citizens were asking, questions about COVID-19. So really, all in all, I think the pandemic advanced the appetite for this kind of technology and to digitize. It really advanced it by several years. And all these tools, and I think people thought were nice to have before, really are a necessity today.
Well, how can the federal government build on that momentum and maybe even leapfrog ahead in using modern and emerging technologies like cloud and AI and automation?
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job, really. I mean, I think they can leapfrog by just simply seeking out solutions. What I've seen is most agencies in the last couple of years have created innovation labs where they're laying out challenges to industry and seeking solutions in the form of pilots and also what they're calling test and learn approach. So I think they should continue doing that. We've seen AI leveraged in several use cases here. A couple examples is that the Navy, they were looking for a solution to reduce ongoing maintenance and inspections on their fleet. They have a pilot now using Google AI and ML to, capture drone images and detect and predict maintenance. So really what that does for them is it reduces their labor burden and the safety risk associated with these inspections, and obviously reduces cost. Another example is the Patent and Trademark Office, where they're using AI and ML to reduce the burden and effort to look for patent similarities. So if you're a citizen and you apply for a patent, the first thing an examiner has to do is see, hey, has this patent been applied for before? And that was really an arduous task. So the AI and ML capabilities reduce that time and reduce the backlog of patents. And then really the last example I'll use is NOAA and Google just signed an agreement to explore the benefits of AI and ML around satellite data and environmental data, and really with the outcome would be to increase environmental monitoring, predict better weather forecasts, and climate research. So really, all to summarize, these emerging technologies serve a common purpose to help people achieve their missions. And, all the federal government leaders, they know their mission, they have domain expertise. Really, these tools are just going to help them make their jobs easier.
Well, next, how do you see the federal government working in new and creative ways to bring talented technologists into its workforce?
Well, first, I really commend people that work in the government. I think working in technology in the federal government provides people with the opportunity to work on some of the most complex and large issues that make a huge impact in society. So that in itself is a huge draw and very attractive to many people. Technology can be a pathway to not only meet the mission, but really provide people a chance to be involved in public service. One of the things that I was associated with a couple months ago is that I think does a great job in recruiting is the U.S. Cyber Challenge organization, and they develop cybersecurity talent, to meet cybersecurity needs for the government. And they do some really cool things. They put on competitions and camps. They recruit high school, college, grad students to compete, and with a goal of hiring 10,000 cybersecurity specialists in the government. So I think that's people could use that as an example. Also, I think that I've seen that a trend where CIOs and CISOs and CTOs go out themselves and recruit. They've been leveraging industry events or going to college campuses and really telling their story about how they got into government service, what their agency does, what their mission is, and how they're helping service to the citizen. And I think that's a really neat way to get people energized to go into the government. On another note, I think it's important also to understand that you don't always need that highly skilled people to do some of these jobs, because technology can help. There's been a trend on low code platforms where you don't really need someone like me, doesn't need to know how to code or have a real technology background to be able to do queries on systems and data and get what I need to do my job. So I think, again, all these are great ways to bring talented people to government.
I was going to say those are some great examples. Thank you for sharing those. Lastly, what other trends or priorities do you have on your radar as we head into 2021?
Well, that's a fun question, considering how dynamic things are, and it's really hard to predict that. But I think the government and industry need to just push the envelope on AI and ML technologies to just continue to see what outcomes it will deliver, taking more pilots to production, and just seeing how much that can increase productivity and do it in a cost-effective way. I think we've discussed, again, using intuitive technology, things like low-code platforms to, help ease the burden of, having a specialized or lots more highly skilled staff. And then I really think that sentiment analysis is an interesting area, using technology to gauge citizen sentiment. When building systems, you can, gauge the citizen to see if, this is something that they think's helpful, and they can provide feedback and help improve the systems and make impactful improvements. And then I think the last thing is that I would really like to see more efforts in shortening the timelines for FedRAMP processes and ATOs. I mean, as the government adopts more and more cloud and wants to actually leverage more cloud vendors, it would be really helpful if we could make that process more efficient and bring better speed to market.
Well, Lesta Brady, thank you so much for joining us here at Fed Talks and sharing some of your insights on the federal government market.
Thank you. I appreciate it.